So Zela.
Yes.
So for those of you that don't know you, you're a professional football, soccer player for us Canadians. And so you played in 4 European countries, Toronto, Halifax. You started an academy called Ottawa Selects for young players.
Correct. Yeah.
So they get strength and conditioning training from your friend, I believe.
Yeah, in 20s.
And you're doing the technical, like football training, and they get playtime, things like that.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself so people can get to know you.
Okay, so my name is Zela Langua. I go by Zela. Just because in school my name is 10 letters, it was a little bit more difficult.
Zamzela Lengua.
Yeah.
It's the first time I heard I can say it.
Yeah. So a lot of people when I was younger couldn't say my name, so I took the liberty of just cutting it short. And that's where Zela came from. So I was born in Stittsville. My family migrated from Cameroon. My dad was the chef for the Cameroon embassy for over 20 years. And yeah, my dad came here in, I feel like 1986. 86. And he's been here since. And yeah, like I said, I grew up in Stittsville. I have 4 sisters. Originally we're from Cameroon. I started playing soccer when I was 3 years old, I guess. I was always around soccer. My dad owned his own club growing up, so it was easy for me to just, follow the alleyway of him. And that's kind of like where Select stemmed from. But when I was younger, I did aspire to be a professional soccer player. My dad kind of gave me the liberty to, he wasn't one of those people like pushed me, like everyone says, oh, Project Mbappe. It wasn't like that. He was kind of just like, if my son wants to be an athlete, he will be an athlete. If he wants to follow my footsteps, he will follow my footsteps.
Makes sense.
So it kind of went that way. And I used to go to all my dad's games. We used to run tournaments. He was big in the soccer world here in Ottawa, so I think like naturally I got involved. And then I played for Toronto FC growing up, so Vancouver Whitecaps. And then after that, I went over to Italy, and that's where my kind of career really started.
So.
And here we are.
Let's go back to your dad a little bit. So I listened to the podcast Monarchy Movement, right?
Yeah,
because I didn't want to ask you exactly the same questions.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like, tried to give a little bit of a different answer.
Nah, don't worry about it. So it was called the Ottawa Lions and Ottawa Roots, right?
Yeah.
The clubs that he created. And what are your best memories from those clubs? Were you around or you were too young?
Yeah, no, I was around. I think it's just like Ottawa Lions was cool and all because like when the Cameroonian national team came for the Francophonie games, we got to meet people like Roger Miller. It was like an icon.
No way.
Yeah, he was part of the delegation that came from Cameroon.
It's one of the greatest, man.
Yeah, we had Roger Miller here. We had Kamani, the goalkeeper, for national for a long time. There's a lot of national team players that came for the Francophonie games, and we were around them. Even the Lions played against a friendly game against the national team. So just that experience was crazy. Like all of us kids were on the sideline, like, "Yo, that's Roger Miller," So like Roger Miller even came to our house, had dinner with our families.
No way.
Yeah, crazy things happened. So there was that.
That's insane.
But apart from that, I think that my favorite was when my dad he joined Ottawa Roots, then took over the Roots and then built it up. So when he joined Ottawa Roots, it was Ottawa Roots is kind of like the point was like it's not just Cameroonian. There was more of a mix of Africans. So there's guys from Algeria, Nigeria, Cameroon, pretty much Togo. There's pretty much anyone from Africa that was a good footballer. That's where they kind of went. So just because it was more of like a Afro vibe, the culture was there. We had like festivals, barbecues. It was just nice, So growing up with a lot of different people from different countries, and like just being in that environment, especially living in Stittsville, like Stittsville is predominantly white, right? So being able to just like have the African community that I see every week was nice, because at the games they used to like barbecue, there'd be drinks, food, like all the kids would get together. So like growing up with that on a weekly basis was nice, Yeah,
diversity is always fun. You eat different foods, meet different people. How was Roger Mila?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you. I didn't sit down and have conversations like this. I was still a little kid, right? The Francophonie games were when I was younger. So, but I just like to meet like an icon of the country.
Yeah, man.
Is like, it's pretty incredible. I even have a picture where I'm standing in front of Roger Miller and like
really,
because we did like a group picture at the end of the game with Lions versus Cameroon. So then we had that group picture. There's a picture like of me and standing in front of Roger Miller. Yeah,
that's
crazy.
What's up, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, you guys have some great athletes because I'm blanking, but Samuel Eto'o was from there too, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and then there's Francis Ngannou now. who's the boxer. He's one of my inspiration.
Yeah.
And in France, you also have Cédric Doumbé, who's also the champion right now at the
And we have
PFL.
Kylian Mbappe.
Mbappe, that's true. He's Congolese.
Yeah.
God damn,
Half
that's true.
Cameroonian, yeah.
Cameroon, sorry.
Yeah. We have some
Mbappe.
yeah.
That's what's up. And is your dad helping you with your club with Ottawa Selects?
No,
or?
my dad's he's very much in his own like part of life, you know.
Yeah.
He just kind of lets his kids grow and do whatever they feel is right. So like obviously he's a very big supporter. Even with me going to Cameroon tomorrow, he is calling everybody back home saying my son is coming, my son is coming. So he's definitely a big supporter. But like selects and stuff is more what I've done. He kind of laid the groundwork. And then just seeing it growing up, being around it. My sister was one of the team managers at the time, or the club managers at the time. So just being in the environment, I kind of got an idea of how to run the situation, you know.
And how did it started, the Ottawa Selects?
So basically, Ottawa Selects started from me wanting to just train with high level players. So what had happened was I wanted to train regularly, and because of that, I said, okay, guys, let me book field time. And then we'll train together in the off season. You know, when you're not playing with a team, you have, let's say, winter break. You still want to get touches on the ball, but you don't have like a club to train with. Just a couple guys get together that are playing either in university or pro, and then they meet in Ottawa. And while they're home for Christmas or whatever, they train. So I booked field time, and I started to run sessions or training sessions. But I was training in the sessions. So then at a certain time, we had too many players. Like there was a lot of players, and there wasn't. I was training, but I couldn't run the session and train at the same time.
Makes sense.
So then I was still running the sessions, trying. Then I just said, okay, if this was what it's going to be, let me just run the sessions because there's too many people and people were starting to complain, saying it's unorganized.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because no one was running it. We were just doing drills, but there's no one really pushing people. It's kind of like, all over the place. So I said, okay, I'll step out and I'll just run the sessions. And then I started running the sessions and people enjoyed the sessions. And then I said, okay, you know what? If this is working the way it's working, let me just make this into a business. And you know, and push the brand, and that's kind of what happened.
That's what's up. And you said you started with a friend, right?
So I started Selects, and then a friend of mine, Antonia, started 8 Mode. 8 Mode is like basically he works with high performance athletes. He's at first he was a personal trainer, then he went on to coach, be a strength and conditioning coach for Club America. Club America is like the biggest soccer team in all of North America. So they're out of Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like the most qualified in North America, and he just like literally gave it a go. He became a strength and conditioning coach for soccer teams, and then he built his brand that way. And now he has his own gym, and we had the idea to kind of merge our businesses and make like one brand, and that's why you have the ape on my business and the ape on his business, because it's like we push everything together and kind of say like I'll coach the soccer, but the players will have the option to go in the gym and he'll do the strength and conditioning for them. And then the idea stuck, and we did it together, and it blew up like really fast because people wanted the full circle. You know, you want to be able to train on the field, but you also want to get stronger off the field and get the gym training you need. And it's always nice to have an actual personal trainer working with you. You know, it's one thing to get sent a gym program, but then there's another thing to actually have a trainer that's going to be like, do this way, do this way. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important too. And that was the thing with basketball. I used to play basketball when I was younger, and there wasn't that kind of support. So I felt like I could have been. I was talking about it with your girl earlier. I was saying how I didn't make it to the NBA. Maybe it's because of that, but you know, who knows?
I think when you play sports, I think you definitely need a good system around you. Yeah. I think people always say, "Oh, like people who work the hardest make it." It's not. I don't believe that. I think people who have the best connections make it. I think everyone can work hard, and that's my opinion. Like I think it's easy to work hard. I think it's hard to find the connections. It's hard to have the right moment.
Makes sense.
I think because a lot of players, how many soccer players are there out there worldwide? You know, anyone can just say, okay, if it was that easy just to work hard, then people would say, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'll work hard, and I'll be a millionaire. You know, but it's not like that. You need to have the connections. You need to have a system that's going to push you. You need to. There's going to be financial battles you're going to face, going on trials, staying in hotels, whatever it is, to get the opportunities you want. So I don't think it's the hard work that is always what pushes people to make it. I think more of the connections you have and the support system you have that are able to help you fund your journey, you know?
I agree. I think there's a little bit of luck involved as well.
Yeah,
Because you could have been born. I don't know where you were born, but you could have been born in a very rough place, and maybe you wouldn't have the same looks that people have here.
Exactly.
So oftentimes people want to just attribute everything to themselves, but you have to look back and be like, oh, I was lucky to be born in this country and to have people that believe in you, things like that.
For sure.
So when I listened to your podcast with Marniki Movement, you were talking about COVID and how COVID impacted your career. So how did you manage? Well, first of all, can you explain how it affected you, and then can you explain how you stayed mentally healthy during COVID?
COVID is one of those ones where it's tough to talk about. But anyways, COVID is one of those ones where I wasn't even in the city during COVID. So my dad and one of my uncles had a farm.
Where?
In like it's a place called Fort Colon or something like that. Like
really?
The Quebec side, yeah.
Nice.
And
Fort Coulonge.
Yes. Yes. So they had a farm there, a farmhouse, like animals like cows and stuff like that, chickens, whatever. So during COVID, for a large percentage of it, I was actually on the farm. So what we were doing is, because you weren't allowed to drive back and forth from Ottawa to Gatineau and Gatineau to Ottawa, or Ottawa to Quebec. So when we would go there, we'd get stopped, obviously. So at one point, we were just like, hey, we'll stop going there. Let's just stay there. I'm not doing anything in the city here, so you might as well just stay out there.
Yeah.
And so at one point, we were just because certain trees, fast forward, certain trees cost a lot of money. So if you cut them down and you sell them to like lumber companies, you can make money from it. So that's what we're doing during COVID. So we literally with chainsaws and stuff, we would go into the forest. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to say. Like,
you guys were hustling hard.
There was no soccer. My mind wasn't even on soccer. There was no me. I was running like every day. Like I was super fit during COVID because during like in the morning we'd wake up at like 5 a.m. I'd do like a 10-kilometer run, and then I'd come back and then we would start our day. Because there's nothing else to do. Like I do that or I just sit at home and. It sucks to say, but we'd just be drinking and just hanging out, talking. My uncle plays the guitar, but that's as much as we were going to do. You know, we just had a farm. What were we going to do?
Yeah.
So I'd get up, I'd run, and then I'd come home. And then once I finish breakfast, then we go out into the forest and we literally cut trees from sun up till sundown. Because that was the one way we can make money. Like, you know, like there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And Selects at that time when COVID first hit, Selects wasn't up and running. So because of that, we had to shut down the business, and then I was just like, okay, like let's go and do that. So that's kind of how I passed my time during COVID. And then as soon as they said that the border's going to open, I literally went on a 3-month vacation. I went to Europe for 3 months.
Nice.
And I did some trials in Europe. I just spent time with family, with friends. Just literally just got to live life for a bit, you know, because the restrictions were, even though they reopened the border, the restrictions weren't as serious as they were here. So you can at least like do things and go out. And I went to Malaga and different places. And just,
where is that?
Malaga in Spain.
Oh, okay, it's in Spain.
Yeah,
okay,
so I went to Malaga and different places and just kind of just literally relaxed because we were just like stuck for so long.
That was crazy. Yeah, for me it was, I had just started real estate, and real estate was booming for some reason during COVID. So, and we were essential, so I could still work. I was doing my back and forth. Had a girlfriend at the time in Ottawa, so I would use excuses to go back and forth. So I still manage.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But this is my last COVID question.
Okay.
I know COVID sucks.
No problem.
But for those that didn't listen, I think you had a contract. You had 2 offers, one in Europe, one in Canada, before COVID hit. And it kind of threw a wrench in everything when it happened in the lockdowns. So do you feel a sense of resentment towards COVID or how it was handled by our politicians? Because looking back now, we can see in multiple ways where they handled it in the worst way possible. So the fact that it impacted your career, do you have some resentment?
I don't really have resentment on the politicians to say, but I think it's more of a, how I think of it is like everything kind of happens for a reason. So I just think that maybe it wasn't the right moment. Maybe, I don't know, like I honestly don't have any crazy thoughts. I always feel like, like you can't sit around thinking, like, what if that would have happened? What if things were different? Because they're not going to be different. So I can't sit around thinking that. Obviously, I have a feeling in my heart that's like, I should be playing at a higher level and I shouldn't just be coaching, if I'm being honest with myself.
Yeah.
I think that right after my season finished in Canada, I was at the level where I should be playing on a big team in Europe. And I was like right there. So it's like things almost happened the way they should have. But I think that sometimes it's just not the right time. I think that also I've been able to help in the time that I would have been playing pro. I wouldn't have been focusing on my business that I've grown here.
Makes sense.
So I think that I've also through my business, I've been able to help other people go pro. And if I didn't come back and focus on the business, those people wouldn't be where they are. So I think my kind of downfall happened to help other people because I know like through phone calls I've made and connections I've made, I was able to help other people like go pro and stuff.
Makes sense.
So like those situations wouldn't have happened, and maybe those people wouldn't be where they are right now. So if you think of it that way, maybe I'm destined to continue to play, and my time will come. But I had to take a step back in order to help others.
Yeah,
I think that sometimes you gotta think of things that way.
That makes sense. You spoke a little bit about destiny, and maybe it wasn't destined. So you believe in God or you're spiritual?
Of course.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit, or
no? I just
Christian?
think that I'm a Christian. Yeah,
Christian.
For sure,
Okay,
for
makes
sure,
sense.
For sure. I just think that like God has a pathway for everyone.
Yeah,
and like I said, sometimes He uses you in order to help others, and I think that might have been it. Like I've sat and I've thought about it time and time again. But at the end of the day, like if I'm really being genuine and thinking of it, like that could be it, you know?
Yeah.
Like who would have thought, for example, I'm gonna be the one to go to Cameroon and play in Cameroon, you know? Like no one would have thought that. Like if you ask my sisters call me a princess, say like, yo, you're too much of a pretty guy to go to Cameroon. Like, what are you gonna go do there in that rough environment? At the end of the day, like something's been telling me since last year. I've had it like a feeling in me because last summer I wanted to go as well.
Yeah,
but things just didn't work out. You have to get your visa from your home country. No, not last summer, the year before. You have to get your visa in your home country. I was trying to get a visa from Germany. Things were just blocking it. It didn't work the way it was supposed to. But it's okay. Like I said, now I am going, and now it's working out the way it's supposed to. So I said, it's been in me that I've been wanting to do this. So sometimes it just things take time to find your path and stuff like that. But I think that we've gotten selects to where it needs to be, where it can be sustainable without me being here.
Yeah.
We have a great group of players. We have hired just new coaches that are great people, and I think that things are on the right path. And I think that it's my time to now focus on what my purpose is.
That makes a lot of sense because when it started, you were playing. Then it felt unorganized. Then you started coaching. You helped a bunch of people. Now you're in a better place so you can hire people to take care of the other people, and then you can think about yourself now again.
Exactly.
So when are you going to Cameroon?
I leave tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of sensing that there's something in the works.
Yeah. So God willing, I'll play for the national team this year. But that's the idea of the trip. That's what we're trying to go for.
Yeah.
Also, and I just feel like it's important for me to just get real in touch with my roots. I think wherever you're from, you should really try to live. That's been in me for a while. Like I said, like it's been in me that I want to go back there, but not just for 1 month for a vacation, but to really live, to really have an everyday life there, to really try and see what it's like. Because a lot of people say like, you'll never understand where your parents are from until you're there.
That's true.
So I want to be there. I want to enjoy it. And as well as the day I get to play the sport that I love. Yeah. I think it's just like the best opportunity possible.
That's interesting.
No, for sure.
I'll pray for you, man. I hope it works out.
I appreciate that.
I hope it works out. And I think I misspoke earlier when I was asking the question about COVID. But it doesn't matter. At one point, you had an opportunity in Europe and Canada at the same time, but you decided to stay with your family because they're in Canada. So obviously, that's a tough decision to make. So what's your process in life when you have a tough decision ahead?
Well, the decision was, you're talking about two different situations. There's the COVID situation, and then there's a situation where I was playing in Europe, and then I decided to come home instead of staying.
That's the one.
Yeah. So I was playing in Spain, and then I decided, rather than keeping my paperwork in Spain, I'd rather just come back and play in the Canadian Pro League. When making decisions, I always think family first. I always say that I like to be close to my family. I like to, even though my family is a little bit dysfunctional at times, you gotta, everybody's but I like to be around my sisters, my nieces, my nephews. I even, I like to spend time with my dad. Even like for example, in the summer times, my friends will come over to my house, my parents' house, and we'll do barbecue, stuff like that.
Nice.
My family is very much like that. So I think no one wants to be far away from home. I think if I can have the same opportunities and have the same financial gain closer to family, obviously you're gonna do it closer to family.
Makes sense.
But I do feel, like I always do weigh the pros and cons of situations. And if I can have the same situation and the same outcome away from home that I do at home, I'd rather stay home, if it makes more sense. So that's kind of in that situation what it was. Like I was already playing in Europe for a couple of years. The opportunity came to play in Canada and be a pioneer in a new league. And that's kind of what happened. I said, okay, like my dad and my family don't necessarily get to watch all my games because they're overseas, things like that. But now we're in the same time zones. They can now watch me regularly. So it's like
sense.
They almost get to see the success of all the years that we've put in. Because it's not just me that invested in me. It's my family, my sisters, my dad, my mom. At one point, everyone chipped in to try to help me get to where I was in football, So I think being able to show them what I've become here in Canada was a deal breaker for me. It was important,
That's interesting. And the Ottawa Selects, how is it to do business with a friend in general when you guys merge together?
I don't think we've ever had we've never had any real business disagreements. It's always been, I think, because we're very similar stories. He played in Lebanon. He went back to his home country. He's a little bit older than me as well. And Antonius is a very what could I even say? He's a very non-problematic person. So he'd rather come up with, all right, rather than, let's say for example, if something's bugging him, rather than bring up the problem, he'd rather bring up the solution.
It's
a very impressive skill of his, because like, for example, a lot of people, once they don't like something, they're quick to this. But he's like, he'd rather come up with the solution before he addresses the problem. So rather than saying, hey, I don't like how this is going, he'd say, all right, bro, I prefer we do this, rather than saying, I don't like how this is going. Okay, or we're doing this right now, I prefer we do it like this, because this will be the impact, He's a very he's a good person to work with. I've never had any issues with him. I've known him since I was 14 years old.
Wow.
So even like before, because he's about, I think Antonius is 32. So
okay.
Yeah, so when I was younger, he was a coach, and he used to play for Algonquin College at the time. I used to train with them at a young age. So and when he first met me, he's just like, no, this kid has potential,
Yeah.
So he took me like under his wing. He used to like help me get to practices, because I used to bus around town, whatever it was. Antonius was like, yo, no, come, I'll pick you up, I'll bring you to training. He was like,
that's blessed, because Stittsville is far.
Yeah. He was a very, very helpful person, and
nice.
Like just a genuinely nice person from when I was younger. So I guess as I got older, we kind of just joined forces and became a strong force.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all good. And how do you stay disciplined? And we all have that little voice in our head sometimes. It's like, you don't need to work as much today, or you worked hard yesterday, why not? How do you deal with that little voice and stay disciplined?
I just think that how I think is that, first of all, it's easier now because I know that I don't have that much time. So knowing that you have tight timelines, knowing that you have to regain all the time that you've missed in such a short period of time, it's easy to keep yourself focused. Because, for example, like for the last 3 months, I was in Toronto and Montreal every weekend for 2 months straight, So every weekend I go to Toronto to play with higher level players. Every weekend I go to Montreal to play with higher level players. So if I know that I have to get to where they are and I haven't been playing at a high level for a year, I know I got catching up to do. So how are you not going to put in the hours when you know you're behind, and you know that you have to get to better than them in order to succeed? So you have that mental battle with yourself, saying that if I don't put these hours in, then I won't get to the level I need to be at.
Yeah.
So you're almost motivating yourself, because I know myself. Like if I went from not playing for a long time, for a year I should say, or not playing seriously for a year, not training seriously for a year, to every day is a grind. And football is like working out. If you've been working out for a long time and you stop, Once you start again, your body will get used to it. Your body,
Yeah.
you'll take, if you had unless you put on crazy amounts of weight, if you had, if you were doing the same exercise that you were doing now before, your body will take its shape fairly quickly, quicker than someone who's never done it, you know? So because of that, I knew that it wouldn't take me long to get back. I knew that I just needed to put in the hours.
And the IQ is probably still there as well. So.
Yeah. So like I said, I just needed to sharpen up some of the tools, and that was it. And like as you get older, you become a smarter player. They say your prime is from 27 to, let's say, 30. So I'm not even in my prime yet when it comes to that. So as you get older, you get better. And like I said, the more quality I play with, or the more time I spend around that environment again, I'll catch my level again. I think I'm already, in my opinion, I'm already back to where I was. Just because I've matured much more mentally. So when you understand the game more, then you get out of those little habits and you start to use your brain to play rather than just use your body, And like, I guess when you're younger, you're still excited, you're still trying to find your way. But as you get older, you start to play more of a mental game. And when you're playing more of a mental game, it's a lot easier to navigate.
That makes sense. How old is Cristiano Ronaldo?
38, I believe.
38. There's LeBron who's getting up there. So I think nowadays with the technology we have, if you take care of your body, your prime could be long, man.
No, for sure.
You got time.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't feel like, as if to say, I'm even close to giving all of the opportunity, all of the effort I could, just even because of COVID.
Yeah.
I should be feeling a lot more rundown than I am. But since I haven't been playing, I should still have extra time, if anything, because my body's been relaxed. I haven't had 60 games every year like the average player would be at 20, 25, But I've played, let's say, 2 years, 1.5 year that I didn't even play, So
yeah,
there's that too.
I want to speak about your entourage a little bit, because I would describe you as a successful person, right? What you've accomplished, not everybody has. Playing in Europe, playing for Toronto FC, the club that you have right now. So we talked a little bit about your family being involved in your success, and one of your friends. Is it hard for you to say to those people, like, you've been part of my success and I thank you for it, to share that? No,
I'm pretty open with how I appreciate my people. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, most of my friends will understand that I'm very much like. But even now, I tell them all, like, or I tell the specific ones that are closest to me, if I do make it, and let's say, God willing, I make it big, I'm not gonna be out there by myself. Everyone's moving. Like, that's
That's
it's like, why would you work for some random person when your best friend has a business that can pretty much, there's jobs for everyone. Like, every football player has a support system that legitimately works for them. Like, I know soccer players who have even their best friend is their personal manager, and they pay them to do that, because it's like I said, why have someone near you that's killing themselves working for someone else when they can just be a part of your team? So I think there's a role for everyone. As long as they're genuine people, there's a role for everyone that's close to you. When you get to that point of success when it comes to football or any sport, because why surround yourself with people you don't know when there's people who love and care about you and want your best interest that could help you on a day-to-day basis, and they'll do it out of love. And the money is obviously a component in there, and that'll come, but they'll do things out of being genuine rather than just making a paycheck, 'Cause a lot of people wake up in the morning, go to work, they just go to work to make a paycheck because that's their job.
That's true.
But if someone's working for you because they want your best interest, it's a lot more productive person than someone who's waking up who just they obviously want your best interest, but at the same time they're doing it for as a job rather than for love,
And did you ever have to cut some people off on the path to success?
I wouldn't say not because of success, but you end up cutting people off because some people just want to be around the success. So, for example, if you're going on a night out, some people just want to be on the night out, but they don't want to be there for the phone call. Like, hey, how you doing? It's more like, hey, just call me when there's a function. Call me when there's girls. Call me when there's
the turn up.
Yeah, So there's a lot of those people that just want the vibes, and then there's the people that are genuinely there for your well-being. So I definitely think that you just have to be aware of your circle. I don't think I think people think it's a lot harder than it is. Like I know a lot of guys who play high level soccer that are doing well, and they're still my good friends. I just think that a lot of people enjoy that lifestyle, and they don't want to hear their own people tell them no. Like,
what do you mean?
What they're doing is wrong. For example, like I have a friend who plays high level soccer. He doesn't like when someone like me will be like, bro, you should not go out. You have a game tomorrow. They want to be able to just do what they want to do. But some people just don't understand that it's in your best interest, you know? So they start hanging with people that don't have their best interest in mind because they just let them do whatever they want to do and they don't give their opinion. So that's one of the biggest problems for high level athletes, is because they don't want to hear at least the younger ones. They don't want to hear what people have to tell them in order for their best interest. They'd rather people around them that are just going to say yes to them.
Makes sense.
And then that's kind of when things go downhill.
So do you think that's an important quality for a friend to be able to put their foot down and be like, yo, you shouldn't do this?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's not, especially like, it's not always like your own friend won't tell you no for no good reason. If that's your real friend, they're looking for your best interest. So you can't expect your friend. Is it really your friend if the person's not afraid to tell you the truth?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Is it like, you know? So I always say, like, anyone around me, if I'm doing something wrong, I hope you tell me. You know, even if it's not in front of people, you can say, "Oh, if we're out doing something wrong, let me do it." But when I get back home, be like, "Yo, to be honest, this wasn't cool." You know. Yeah. But I think that's the best way, the best approach at friendship. You know, you support your people 100% when you're with other people and in front of people. Yeah. But behind closed doors, you always got to be able to have a conversation.
And what do you look for in a friend aside from that aspect of things?
I don't think I really look for anything in a friend. I just think genuine connections just happen. You and someone have a genuine energy together, a genuine connection will happen. Obviously, there's traits like you want someone who's loyal, respectful, someone you can count on. But I think once the genuine energy matches, then those things are destined to be there, you know, because your energies match, you know. And I really believe that. Like, sometimes you can be in a room with someone and the energy is just cold, not because you guys don't like each other, just your energies aren't matching.
That's true.
So I think like when you meet someone, when someone's being genuine, I think you feel it and you genuinely know it, you know. But I think that if you just try to go off of the person's personality, I don't think it will work. I don't think life works like that. I think it's more of you guys have matching mentalities, you guys have matching energies. You can kind of your morals and values align, and once people's morals and values align, more or less they align as people.
Makes sense. So you would say it's the same thing, I guess, for relationships. It's the vibe and stuff.
Yeah.
So how did you meet your girlfriend?
Jeez, going there. We actually met in church. I'm being 100% honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah. So what's the story, or is it just?
That's just it. Like, you know, like
just met in church.
Yeah, you met in church.
I like that.
It was good vibes off the first time we met. Yeah. And then from there, we kind of started to hang out and things kind of moved pretty quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of person like if you're in my corner and I like and we're vibing together and we you know things align, and I don't hesitate to secure what's around me. You know.
And I know you guys are. It's a pretty recent relationship, so I won't ask too many questions. But what made it official with her? What did you see in her that?
It's a good question. I think there's several things. I think she's definitely God-fearing, goal-driven. She comes from a strong family. I think
that's true.
As someone who comes from a strong family is important to me. I think her relationship with her brother, her stepdad, her mom, you know, these are things that are important. You know, I think any person you date, or in my opinion, any woman you date that has a strong father figure around them is detrimental. You know, I think.
Talk to me about it.
It's
really important.
So I think those are a few things that were kind of stand out-ish to me. And then like obviously her relationship with my own family. She's very good with my family, you know, like she tutors my niece, like little things, you know. So I think just this situation made sense, and she's a genuinely good person, and that's like important for me. I like someone who's like genuinely loving, caring, soft-spoken, takes care of themselves well, and do the little things that. I'm saying basic things, but nowadays they're not so basic, you know. So to find a good person these days is difficult.
Yeah.
So I think nowadays when you find one, you gotta keep them close.
I agree. I like one of the same things about my girl. She's close to my family, so I'm not a person that talks a lot with my brothers and stuff, and I'm trying to get better at that. But I'm very introverted. So she wants to know every stories. So I feel like I get closer to my brothers because when she's in the house, she's like, "Oh, what happened to your girlfriend?" Or, you know, so she's trying to get the tea. And that's how I learned about all the stories. And she knows even more about my brothers than I do sometimes. So it's definitely a good quality.
Oh, for sure.
And we talked about God a couple times. So the whole concept of this podcast is just me talking about interesting people, about things that I'm interested in. So God is a concept that is interesting to me. And I would like to know, how do you get closer to God in your day-to-day life?
I think the reason I got closer to God, if I'm being completely honest with you, is because in my career, I've had a lot of, like in the last year, I've had a lot of injuries.
Really?
I swear. And ever since I started praying regularly, I haven't got injured once.
Interesting.
It's very weird to say, but ever since I've like gotten myself closer to God, my injuries have gone away. Certain things that were happening to me before no longer happen. So I think like it's kind of His protection that's kind of like guiding me right now. Even like for me to go to Cameroon, like there are so many things that people would told me I was crazy on a day-to-day for a month. But
really,
you know, like in my heart, nothing ever changed. It was kind of just like, this is what's supposed to happen, so it's happening. You know, so like I just feel like I've gotten closer because He's kind of shown me that He's closer to me in a way. And maybe that's because I wasn't putting enough effort in spiritually before. Yeah. But I think now that the effort is there, I think that
interesting.
Like I said, He's been protecting me, and like I said, like you can ask Antonius, he'll tell you. For the last time I tried to train regularly and play regularly, I had hamstring problems. I had like so many things were happening to me. But like these past months, I'd say last 6 months, I've been training harder than I've been training in the last 2 years. Yeah. And nothing's ever happened. I've never felt any tweaks, any That's nothing. Awesome. So it's like I just think that He's shown me that it's my time, you know, like to do what I'm destined to do. And I genuinely feel that way, you know? So that's why like I'm so open to speaking about it freely. Like when on the last podcast, I'm not like I'm not hiding the fact that I'm going back to playing. I'm not trying to keep it from people. It's very much like this is what I'm doing because I feel like it's the right thing that I'm doing. You know? So.
And how do you get closer to God? What's your process for that?
I don't really necessarily think anyone has a process. I feel like just prayer, just on your day-to-day, doing things that are wholesome, doing things that are good, stopping to do negative things that you were doing before. I think as long as you're doing things to help your own spirit, to help your own how can I even say it? As long as you're striving to be the best version of you, God will be with you. And that's my opinion. If you're trying to be the best version of you and trying to help others as much as you can, and just doing things with a pure heart, God will be with you. Yeah, that's my opinion. So I think the more I try to put other people before me and just be the best version of me, I think that's how God will be with me. Or what shows me He's with me, and why He's showing me He's with me, because I'm doing my best to be the best version of me. Yeah.
Makes sense. And your family's religious too? That's why you picked it up, or?
No, it's more. My family is Catholic, but it's more of my own that I kind of like. I've done things and have changed in that way. Awesome.
I think you don't have a personal Instagram, right?
I do now.
You do now?
I did get it back.
Okay.
Just for business, and like if I'm going to go back to playing soccer, if I want deals and stuff like that, you have to have some sort of social media.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So. But you're more low key, I guess, in day to day life.
Yeah, now I used to not be, actually. To be honest, I used to be a very out there person.
Oh yeah.
But like, when I stopped playing for a bit, I just said, you know what? Like, if I don't need to be out there, why be out there? If I can just have a circle that could call me whenever they need me, they know they can call me whenever they need me. I don't need to post a snap for them to see that I'm alive. Like they can just hit my line and I'll pick up. Yeah. So I think like Instagram was more of like when I was traveling regularly and People wanted to see what I was doing, and my sisters couldn't really see me on a day to day, or my friends couldn't really see what I was doing on a day to day. Obviously, if you're in Europe and you've played on so many teams, and everyone you want people to still be able to connect with people, so it made sense. But when I wasn't playing, I was just at home. My day to day was very simple. I went coach, came home, so I didn't think I need to show people that on a day to day, on at least on my personal. If you wanna, everyone that needed to see it just followed my business account, and that was fine, And then, like I said, if you needed to call me or speak to me, you could call me, But I think now that I'm going back to playing, and people are probably gonna look to follow my journey. That's a platform I could use to kind of share the journey with people.
Yeah. Are you more introverted or extroverted?
Definitely more extroverted.
Really, huh?
But I just don't need the socials. I swear. I'm definitely more out there. But nowadays, I don't really take pictures like that. I don't really I just feel like I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. It doesn't really, it doesn't do anything for me.
What made the switch, you think?
I think less people cared what I was doing on a day to day, because I was no longer doing the exciting things. That makes sense.
So the people that were more there for the vibes, I guess, kind of faded away a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know. When I came home, I was injured. It was kind of just a cold moment. And I just said, I wasn't really on it like that.
Yeah.
So I was just okay, if I'm not even going to I'm not posting anything, I'm not going anywhere, it's winter time, what am I going to do? And then COVID hit and all these things. So I'm just you know what? I don't really need Instagram, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I just deleted it. Well, I deactivated that first for I'd say from October till, or November, October till December about.
Okay.
And then in December, because I think you can only have it deactivated for 3 months, something like that.
Oh yeah.
So I reactivated it for a couple of days, and then after a couple of days, I'm like, you know what? I don't need this, and I just literally deleted it.
There you go.
And then everything else, I just let because after 3 months, they automatically delete. So Facebook deleted on its own, Twitter deleted on its own, everything deleted on its own. I was just deactivated, and then I was literally without social media for I think a year and a bit. I never really thought about it. I only thought about it because this whole Cameroon thing, and I want to be able to share my journey while I'm over there, because these are moments that I'm only gonna probably do once, especially at least staying for that amount of time. I'm not gonna go to Cameroon again a second time to live there. I know for a fact that won't be the case. So being there for this period of time, I want to at least document my journey, and that's one way of doing it.
That's what's up. And did you notice any change from just not having social media or not being as out there as much, or?
Well, now getting it back, I don't check it. Unless I get a notification that someone's DM'd me or sent me a DM.
Yeah.
I don't wake up and think because before when I used to have my regular Instagram, I'd wake up, scroll through, see what people have posted.
Yeah.
But now, because I haven't had it, I don't think about it. If I'm thinking about it, it's because, okay, let me post this because this is happening. But I don't think if I'm out eating something, I'm not going to say, let me snap this or let me post this. And I don't think it's ever going to be like that again, because it's no longer programmed in me to do that anymore. I think you get so used to that stuff, it's literally it programs you. So it becomes your first nature. But I think if you don't have that for a long time, you get away from it, that it's no longer your nature, Yeah,
I agree. I think it becomes like muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I just open my phone and first thing I click is Facebook or Instagram. It's always the same 2 apps.
I was asking her to look for something. Last night I wanted to look for something online, and I was like, go on your Facebook, because I don't have Facebook. Go on your marketplace, you don't have these things so. Yeah. I think there's positives and negatives to both, but I think there's more negatives to social media than there is positive. So I'd rather just keep myself away from the negative than,
I agree.
I think if you have social media, it should be for business purposes. And if it's not for business purposes, then if you have pictures, send them to your family group chat. You don't need to send them to you. You know what I'm saying?
They're the only ones that
I always
really
say too. I always say Instagram is for the girls. Let the girls post the stuff. As a man, you don't really, in my opinion, as a man, you don't really need these apps to be on a day-to-day okay. You'll be on a day-to-day okay without the apps. A lot of guys can't even go out and talk to a girl because they're so used to sending DMs.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's the reality. People it's creating a socially awkward community. Guys are no longer comfortable talking to girls because they don't no longer have to interact with girls on a day-to-day. Now it's, let me shoot my shot, send a DM and hope for the best. And then hopefully I can get hang out with this girl.
Yeah.
So it's killing it's killing people's just everyday skills.
Yeah, and imagine you're scared to talk to girls, so you DM. But what happens on the first date?
You know what I'm saying?
What do you do?
Yo,
That's crazy.
There's a lot of guys nowadays who are single because of that. Because they literally just don't understand how to interact with women anymore.
I can see that.
You know?
Maybe the other generation, like the Tinder swipe generation, I guess.
Yeah. And also, I guess, a lot of girls' standards are going down too. Because they're so used to the horrible approaches that they're getting, you know? Yeah. So you're going to pick the best of the worst.
I had a girl tell me once, "You're too good to be true." And she sabotaged the relationship because of that.
You see what I'm saying?
I swear to God, bro. She just stopped replying. I was like,
exactly my point is because like you're taking away your everyday life skills. Like I know a lot of people that like just even if you see the way they talk to people, it's just like, how do you speak to people like this? But it's normal because we don't talk normally over social media anymore. Everyone uses all this slang and this these sideways ways of talking that when you speak to people on a day-to-day basis, it's like, how do you talk to people like this? Like, so it's interesting.
How did you keep that traditional state of mind? Because you're what, 25 or younger?
25, yeah.
Yeah, 25. So you're, I guess, my younger brother's generation. I'm 29. So how did you keep that traditional mentality?
I think when you stay in Europe for long enough, people in Europe.
That's an American thing.
People in Europe do not live anything like people live here.
Yeah.
Like not even close. Like if you ever, like I'm saying, if you travel to Europe, you'll get a very different feel of life than you have here. Especially living there, like people, like for example, the average, like in Europe, it's not European culture for everyone to have an iPhone. It's not their culture. Just have a phone. Girls are not looking for guys with the iPhones. That's like, crazy. You know, it's very different on how people approach things in Europe versus how people approach things here. You know, people, I can say that, like I said, like it's more of a let's live life than let's show life. So I think here, like for example, like you can say Toronto, for example. You go to Toronto, what's the first thing someone says from Ottawa that goes to Toronto? Let's rent a nice car and drive down. Yeah. Or when we get there, when we fly down, let's rent a nice car. In Europe, you don't got to do that. You don't got to do that. Because first of all, bottle culture is not like that down there. It's like that, yes, in certain places. If you go to London, where everyone's a soccer player, in the nightclubs, there's obviously bottle culture. But in other countries, it's not like that. You don't have to have a table and buy bottles to get to approach a pretty girl. But in Canada, that's definitely the vibe. In America, that's definitely the vibe.
Yeah.
When we go out, it's what are we doing tonight? It's never like in Germany, like for example, in Germany, you can get a table in Germany for 300 euros. Okay. And like you'll have like a bottle or two bottles and you drink. But if you think about it, in Germany, I played on a football team in Germany, and it wasn't like a let's go get bottles. It was more or less like a let's go have a good time. Everyone's dancing. Everyone's actually having a time, you know?
Jeez.
Like guys, girls, everyone. Not just, you know? Here, people aren't on the dance floor like that, you know? Damn. But in Germany, when I first got there, I walked into the club and I said, so this is how it is?
People are living.
Yeah, you know? Like
just posting up on the table.
No one's posted up. Like if you're posted up, what are you doing, fam? Enjoy yourself. Have a good time, you know? Yeah. Even in Spain, the same thing. In Malaga, we went to beach clubs and stuff. Everyone just dancing, having a good time. No one's thinking about, let's stand by the table. It's not like that. So because the culture is so different and like people are talking to people, everyone's just open to talking to everyone. You know, it's not like, this guy looks rich, let me talk to him. It's kind of just like, I'm interested in this person, you know?
Makes sense.
So it's a different vibe. It's a very different vibe. I think here people base a lot of stuff off of image. And that's wrong because, like I said, I know some rich people who dress very, very normally, 100%. But they have way more money than the guy who has one nice watch and $0 in his bank account. Yep. So I think people here need to ease up on the image, but it's never going to change. It's only going to get worse, to be honest, out here. So I think people just need to experience the rest of the world, and then they'll get a different outlook on things if you want your outlook to be different. You know? Yeah.
Is it easier to talk to girls, talk to other people there? Or?
People are just open to conversation there. It's not as closed off. obviously there's racism in Europe in certain countries, but you'll face racism anywhere. But like I said, as long as you present yourself in a, like, even in the most racist countries, even if you present yourself in the right way, people will still be open to having conversations with you. You know, so you just have to be presentable. You have to act in a proper manner. But if you do, then it's it's a lot easier to have a conversation there than it is here. Yeah, for sure.
You said something interesting earlier about we don't post photos as much as dudes, and sometimes, like, when I have to, let's say I have to promote. Because I started this thing where I do MMA, like small fights. It's nothing professional. It's just amateur stuff. And when I need to promote a fight, I remember there was one day I was in the gym and I was looking in the mirror. I was like, maybe I should do a little selfie. I pulled the phone out and put it in the mirror and I was like, man, I feel like a bitch right now. And I'm like,
I was saying, like, it's not.
I can't see myself. Like,
it's not necessary. Like, even I'm thinking, I'm like, for example, don't get me wrong. Like, if I'm with, like, I have a little Snapchat, you know. Yeah. So if I'm gonna do things for, like, my because not everyone has some Snapchat, like close friends, you know. I'm gonna post something like that. It's gonna be on my Snap. But for me to go on Instagram and post a selfie on my Instagram feed, what am I doing? Unless, like I said, with my new Instagram, I have a bunch of stuff just so people know who I am. I had to create a timeline, whatever it is, but. If my agent didn't tell me to go and create an Instagram, hey, I would have just been in Cameroon. No one would even have known. I wouldn't have done this podcast. I would just be on my own time.
Makes sense.
In a foreign land, and no one would know. You know, and anyone who knows me knows it's true. Even my best friend, his name is Victor. He's been telling me, "Yo, you need to get an Instagram." I'm like, no, I don't need to do this. Like, I don't care for this. You know. And also, I've gotten a lot more respect from people when I say I don't have Instagram than when I do say I do have Instagram.
When you say you don't, makes sense, yeah.
The respect is a lot like, oh, you're on Instagram. And people think you're lying at first.
Yeah.
I swear, everyone thought I was lying for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I really don't have Instagram. And then, like, people would, like, search up, do their own research. And then when they look me up, and after a couple times they've talked to me, they don't see that I have Instagram. Then they start to believe me. But at first, people don't believe you. And then there's the guys, on the other hand, they'll be like, okay, I respect it.
Yeah.
You know, most guys would be like, okay, I respect it. But then girls are like, you know, I don't believe you,
Of course, girls are going to say that.
For sure.
So I'm trying to figure out where's the line, because I never took a selfie. But I know my dad takes selfies. The older generation does. She giggled. No, but, and I have older clients that the older generation, like our fathers, like they do selfies. But me, I just take the phone and I just feel like a girl. I can't do it. But I did post one once in the mirror. I was flexing a little bit. I did that once. So where do you draw the line? What is acceptable?
I won't take selfies according to you. At all.
Okay, so
I will. If someone's gonna take a picture, sure. You can take a picture. Yeah. If I go somewhere nice, I'll stand and take a picture.
Yeah.
But for me to go and take a selfie and post. It's getting long. It's getting long. Now, if anything, I'll go somewhere where there's a mirror, and then if I have a fire fit, I'll take a picture of my front camera.
Okay,
and you'll see the fit, and that's it. But apart from that, for me to stand like this, and say, "Let me take this selfie," it's not happening.
I think we kind of agree on that. If someone else is holding the camera,
it's a little easier.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
but if I have to hold the camera, then maybe a mirror, full body. But once you flip it like this, there's a little too much wrist action going on. I can't do it.
You're trying a little too hard.
Yeah.
You're trying a little too hard.
So we're getting to the end of the interview. I asked a few people on Instagram if they had questions for you.
Okay.
So there's two questions that come from my little brother-in-law.
Okay.
So the first question is, how can he has a lot of potential in soccer. He's younger than you.
Okay.
And I think he had an opportunity in Portugal. Okay. I think it's about to come into fruition. We'll see.
Okay.
So he's asking, how can a semi-professional athlete, League One, I don't know what that is, join the CPL if he has no agent and no contract?
What I'd say is, firstly, there's the U Sports draft.
U Sports?
Yeah, so if you go to university, one of the better universities. For example, Carleton has a good team. So I think 2 players from Carleton got drafted. But even then, so I'll explain it well. So if you go to if you play it for a good university, you can submit and enter the CPL draft. So CPL draft is the best university players get drafted. Oh, the teams can pick from the best university players, best ranked university players.
Okay.
The teams can pick from the best ranked university players, players to come into training camp. So, for example, Ottawa picked one player from Carleton and another player from Carleton got picked to go to Forge. Forge is in Hamilton.
Hamilton, okay.
Those are just, once you get picked to go to training camp, you're not signing. It's just, you're just getting picked to go to camp. So you go to preseason training. And if the team likes you in preseason training, they have the opportunity to sign you if they want to. So that's one alleyway. The alleyway I'm trying to bring to light is, I'm guessing your brother's from Senegal, right?
No, he's Haitian. It's my brother. So he's the younger brother of my current girlfriend.
Ah, okay.
And hopefully soon to be wife.
Okay, well, clap for that.
Thank you.
The alleyway I'm trying to bring to light is going to your home country to play.
Okay.
So wherever if you're a player of color, or any player, to be honest, if you're that's not Canadian American, I'd say the easier route is to go and play in your home country. Get as much video footage as you can from that first division league. Okay. And then try to, with that video, with your agent, now with your profile as a pro player, because when you go to your play in first division in your home country, you'll be considered a fully professional player. Okay. So for example, if I go to Cameroon, I played first division in Canada, and then I played first division in Cameroon. You know, so I've played at the highest level in both of my countries. So if I wanted to come back to the CPL, I can take the footage from Cameroon and I can say, hey, listen, I was playing in the top league there. This is my highlight video. What do you guys think? And the agents can push if they think you're good enough, because there's guys who've gone from Cameroon and played in the CPL. I know players. Yeah. So it's, as long as you have some sort of base as a pro, teams will give you a chance, especially because the CPL is a growing league. So you need to have some sort of base as a pro to get even a chance. Because if you're not playing pro, then you have no chance. What do they have to sign you over one of the other million of Canadians that want to get signed? Yeah. There's only 8 teams. Only 8 teams right now. So there's only 8 teams and there's millions of players who want to get signed. What are your odds over someone who's playing semi-pro? What are your odds over someone who played, let's say, 3rd division, 4th division, Portugal, or whatever it is? Because at least they've been in the pro environment. But if you've never been in the pro environment, you never signed their contract, how are they going to pick you? So I just take it from a coach's standpoint. Why would I take this brand new guy that nobody knows over someone who's played in Europe for a season or 2 seasons? At least a player who's played in Europe for a season or 2 seasons knows what it's like to be in a pro environment. I don't have to teach him all these new things. So even just from that standpoint, the coach is going to pick him first. Yeah.
I don't think the Haitian team is that good, though.
Not the Haitian team. You're just playing in the league. Okay. You know, so every country has a pro soccer league. You know, Canada just came a couple of years ago, but we're a little bit behind. But every country has a pro soccer league. Even though the league's not the greatest, I'd still say you think about that being an option. I know, hey, the safest place, but I still say that think of it as being an option. Like for example, I know guys, 4 players or 5 players who came from Trinidad and Tobago to play in the Canadian in the CPL. The league in Trinidad and Tobago is not the greatest, but they still got signed from Trinidad and Tobago. Interesting. They weren't playing anywhere else. They were playing in Trinidad in the pro league there, and they came and signed in Canada. There's many players who've actually done that. There's some guys from Jamaica who've done that. So it's not necessarily how strong the league is. It's just about being able to say, I'm from Canada. I have that experience under my belt, even if the experience is treacherous. I have the experience under my belt. Give me a shot. And chances are, if you have a decent agent that thinks you're decent, the club will give you a shot because you at least been in an environment.
Makes sense. So you just want to stick out of the pack with a different kind of experience.
Exactly. Because if everyone else has the same experience, then chances are they'll be the same kind of player. But if you've been at least, especially, I always say, the rougher the environment, the better you're going to be when you come out of it. Because when it's real rough, your resilience as a person, is going to be a lot stronger. And your resilience as a player, because you've been in treacherous conditions. If I'm on a dirt field every day, imagine when I'm on grass.
That's true.
If I have to control the ball that's coming off of a rock in the middle of the pitch, imagine when I control the ball when it's just there.
Yeah.
My control is gonna be like that. So it's like the rough. It's like not a great way to think about it, but the rougher the conditions, the better you will be.
That's true.
You know, it's just think about it.
Pressure makes diamonds, right?
Exactly. For real though. So you see a lot of players that come from Africa to Europe and they become big stars. It's because they've been playing in the most treacherous of conditions. Guys are playing in sand and dirt. If you look, I've seen videos of Cameroon's goalkeeper now training in like just a regular facilities or regular pitch where he's from. Mate, there's no grass. The guy's training, and this guy's making how many millions a year, but he still goes back and because he's comfortable there because that's where he started. You know, you can't you can't run from where you started.
Yeah.
So he's still used to that. It's comfort for him, you know?
Makes sense.
But other people will see that and say, yo, how is he even there? But don't forget that he started there, you know?
Yeah. And he has another question. He asks, what are the differences in pro football in Canada and Europe? Well, between Canada and Europe, I guess.
Canada and Europe?
Yeah.
Play style? Canada is more, I'd say, physical.
Really?
Yeah, because guys are here are known to be. You go to the gym, you lift. It's less like how it's less quality, more. You know, like you can get away with more. You can get away with being. I don't want to use the term lower level, but you can get away with a lot of things you won't get away with in Europe. For example, in Spain. When I played in Spain, the center backs I had, like the defenders I had on my team, are as good as on the ball as the midfielders I have on my team, as the attackers I have on my team, because everyone's just technically so gifted. Everyone, they're just so good.
Yeah.
But if you but that's just Spain as in general, you know. So when I compare that, the team I left to in Spain and came here, it's night and day, mate.
Really?
Yeah, it's night and day. So I think that. In Europe, they focus more on tactical, technical, like how your ability, you know, mental, how resilient you are. Here, it's less of technical, tactical, and more of strength, speed, power. The games are even like pros that have played in Europe and then come to the MLS, you know, the American Pro League. They say it's so physical. They're not used to it. Like some of the games are like Pirlo, for example. Pirlo went from Juventus to I think it was New York FC he was playing for at the time. Okay. And he said, yo, I'm getting injured every game. You guys are too physical here.
That bad, huh?
So they play a lot more physical, and obviously the season's shorter. So you play a lot more games in a shorter period of time, which is not good for your body. There's a lot of travel because from Halifax to...
To get back to the Instagram questions, it was Purple Chinese. She's asking, why did you choose to invest in young players? And did you face issues starting out in your career?
I didn't face many issues starting out in my career. I think when I was 18, that's when I started out with the issues. Because at 18, when I first got to Italy, it was hard for me to get a working visa to stay in Italy and play. Because you need a work permit to stay in Europe and play. So to get a work visa was difficult with the team that I was with. So what we had to do was I actually had to go to school.
To be able to have the visa?
Yeah, to be able to get a visa. So through me going to school, that's when I got the visa. That's when I was able to play. So that was like the biggest kink, especially when I was in Europe. That was like the hiccups that I was constantly dealing with is the visa situation. Because it's tough. If you're not playing at the highest level, it's hard to get work permits. It's hard to get visas. And that's why I was kind of drawn to Germany, because in Germany you don't need off the bat a visa. You can play off of just having your passport. So when I got to Germany, I was playing with just my passport for 3 months, and then once I had my passport, then you can work through the work permit and everything else, because now you're established, you're there, you're already in the league. It's easier for the team to apply. But growing up, it wasn't really hard because I had the dedication in me, and I think that's what a lot of people nowadays miss. Because there's so many facilities and there's so many people that are trying to help people become pros, now at least, there's a lot of people, a lot of different programs you can join. Because there's so many new programs, people lack the individual dedication. People think, oh, just because I went and I trained with a coach personally for an hour, I've done the job. But when I was growing up, at 14, like I said, my Antonius used to pick me up. I used to train with his team. I used to go and train on my own with my club team. I used to before school I'd go early. I'd be training on the field before school. I'd be training on the field at lunchtime. I'd be training on the field after school. So I went through like people who know were close to me. There's a guy named Chris Capello. He's like he's in med school now, becoming a doctor. Right. Chris used to come to the field with me, play as a goalkeeper, and I'd be taking free kicks, working on my shot, dribbling down one cone, passing another cone. I used to do things on my own. Like it was like no one had to tell me that this is what you need to do to become a pro. I just wanted it so bad. And when I started to have that that almost craving in me to become a pro so bad, that's when not shortly after I signed for Toronto FC. Because I was the year I was really killing myself before school, after school, training with Algonquin, everyone. That's the time where it was inevitable for me to be at the higher level. I went to Toronto. Someone made a phone call. Hey, said to a coach of Toronto FC, hey, listen, there's a baller here. We beat his team, and it was 7-5, but he's the only player in the league that could score 5 against us. Damn. So and that was the best team in the league. It's funny because during that game, I remember it's halftime, and I think it was something like 4-0. So some of their better players were started to undress and walk to the side of the field because they knew they're it's done.
That's
some
crazy.
of their players were fighting through injuries. Then all of a sudden it's 5-4. The same players that got off, walked back around, or coming back into the game because they're yo, what's going on? You know? Yeah. So moments like that, I had some real big moments against bigger teams, when I was in that youth level. And then from there, things just only got better. Like I said in the last interview I had, I think not having my family to support me in Toronto and in Vancouver were a little bit of a difficulty for me. Because I was just there on my own. I was young. I was 14. I didn't really have any guidance So because of those things, I had to bang my head in order to learn things. But I think that if I had a stronger support system, I would have been at the level of Alfonso or a level of because at the time when I was in Vancouver, Alfonso was playing with my team. That's how I know him. So I think I would have. If I had like I said, a stronger support, not even just that, I don't blame my family or anything because everyone has to work, everyone has their. But I just think it's easier when you do have family closer to you, to make sure. For example, the nights where I wanted to go out partying, my dad would have said, "Nah, it's okay, stay home." So because I didn't have that, no, it's okay, I could just do whatever I wanted. I think it was kind of detrimental, but I think also was a part of my story, and I think it's also gave me the resilience I have today. I know a lot of experiences I've been through when it comes to football or life. A lot of other people wouldn't be able to endure those kind of experiences.
Can imagine. So, do you think when you're gonna, if the Cameroon thing works out, you're gonna fly your family over so that they're with you?
I think everyone in my family is kind of behind me on this experience right now. Everyone's very supportive, and they all want what's best for me, especially my parents and my sisters. Everyone's very supportive. So I think that, of course, if things work out the way I want them, I think everyone's going to end up coming and it'll be a happy a story to tell, I definitely think that it's just down to let's see what happens overseas and I'm gonna give it all I got, and like I said, the same thing I said to my family. I said, this is the last shot. It's the last dance, I'm turning 26 this year. In football does have an age. You don't have a time limit to get to the highest level. Yeah. So if things don't go the way they're supposed to this year, then it is one of those ones where I know that at least I can say now I've gone to all the lengths possible to try to make my story come to light. So that's that.
Makes sense. And the last question from Awanyeo. She's asking, what is the best way to inspire young people nowadays?
I think with your actions. I think, like I said, I'm going to, in my own way of inspiring people, is being the first one to do it. When I was younger, I was one of the first people to go over to Italy or to go over to Europe And people from Ottawa can attest to that. Not a lot of people were traveling to Europe or even getting the opportunities in Europe that I've been given. So I think a lot of people from the younger generation would say, okay, Zela did it, I think I can do it too, you know? So even if they don't directly notice that, but just by being that person, it directly, you know, there's the guys like me, Jonathan David, Chris Tordick, we're all people from our Ottawa that at a young age, Elliot Simmons, all people from Ottawa that at a young age ended up leaving Ottawa and going to Europe and giving it a go. There's Benson as well. Antonius, you played in Lebanon and in Germany. Jeff Adai, Godwin Adai, these are all people from the local community in Ottawa that did it, that went to Europe, accomplished something in Europe and made a name for themselves. So I think because when you're one of the first people to do it, it gives people hope. And life is based off of hope. You hope you can do things. You hope you hope you achieve what other people have achieved. You hope you achieve what your family would like you to do. You hope you achieve what makes you happy. So I think we gave people some hope. Some people made it farther than others, but it doesn't matter as long as it's the leap that you take that can give other people hope or give other people the thought that, okay, if that person did it, I can do it. So I think being the first to do something, leading by your examples, and like I said, like this whole Africa situation, I'm sure after I do this, I can only imagine anyone from Selects that if I have a good experience, not even from Selects, anyone in Canada that's been watching these interviews, that's watching me or following me on Instagram, will have a leap of faith and go to their home countries and see what it's like to play there. Because they're gonna say, I'm sure after when I do get back, we'll sit down again and you'll ask me, how was your experience?
Of course, I would love to.
And then that experience will go out and I'll say, I'm sure this is gonna go one or two ways. Either it was tough, but I still think people should do it. I think there's nothing wrong with having difficult situations. I think Africa or any of the islands will be difficult situations, but the same way we invest in university, parents have to invest in sports. For example, if I was here, my parents would have paid for my school. So that's why my dad never had a problem paying for my flight, because he said if my son was ready to go to Harvard, I would have paid for it, because that means he had the smarts to go there. So if I'm willing to invest in that aspect of things, why wouldn't I invest in something that he loves, something that he's good at? I think a lot of soccer players, like I said, would want this experience regardless of if they're scared, but it's more of it's going to be expensive. But how much is rent in Africa? I'm staying in one of the most luxurious apartments that I could find, and it's 500 Canadian a month. So my rent downtown Ottawa is 2,000 something a month. So like, what is it to invest a little bit in yourself? And I think, like I said, if you invest in university, you have to be willing to invest in your sports. I think it's when you're down to your last dollar that something happens.
Yeah,
for you. Normally.
Your back is against the wall.
Yeah, when your back's against the wall and you're in the most treacherous of circumstances is when normally something comes to light for you. And I've been in those situations, and I know for a fact that that's really what it is. There's been times where I have thousands of bills, whatever it is, and I'm thinking to myself, holy. And I go and I pray on the situation, and after that's how I do things. I'll go and I'll pray on it, and then I'll sit. I'll say, I've done what I can do. I'll do everything in my ability. And then once I've done that, I'll pray on it and I'll see where things go. And that's kind of how I live. Like, I've been in a situation where my back's to the wall. I can't pay for this bill. Think something happens. Business starts booming, whatever it is. And you figure things out. So like, I definitely think that more people have to start thinking of investing in themselves. Nothing's ever too far out of reach. I'm sure that it's sometimes just you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And I've never had a problem making an uncomfortable situation comfortable. And I think that's a very important part. Like I said, I've been to Romania in a place where nobody would ever think to go. But at the same time, when I got there, I looked at the circumstances and I said, okay, this is it. This is what it is. So I think you have to be okay with making your uncomfortable situation comfortable. And when you can do that, you can get through pretty much just about anything.
Makes sense. That makes sense. That's it for me. The last thing I wanted to show you was the tape of my little brother. So
Okay.
if you want to watch this, and then you can give me your take on it. Or any advice you have.
I see. He followed my the Selects page the other day.
Yeah, I sent it to him, yeah.
Okay.
He's a good kid. Good head on his shoulders.
So he lives in Montreal, or? Mm-hmm. Okay.
He lives in Montreal at the moment. But if something were to come up in Ottawa, he could live with me.
Okay.
There's no problem with that.
Well, to be fair, he's playing in a good league to start in the PLSQ.
Yeah,
the PLSQ, like a lot of those players are getting looks. It's just a little bit more difficult because obviously semi-pro, but to get start, I definitely do think that, like I said, he should try to get other experiences. I know you spoke about Portugal.
Yeah.
But that'll be a good experience for him if you can. I say no matter the division, get those experiences. Anything in football, what I'll say is anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
No matter what division, no matter what. It just depends on who's watching. You know?
That makes sense.
I'll say like some of the most random situations have happened, and people will think like, "Oh, how did that come to light?" It's because someone got lucky on that day. Someone could come watch someone else, and you're the one that they want. So yeah, he definitely needs to get his feet wet and go overseas.
Makes sense.
And
so Portugal would be a good opportunity.
I'd say Germany as well is a good spot to go.
Germany as well?
Because the paperwork's easier.
Okay. Yeah, that's what you were saying earlier. Okay.
Because in Germany, if you find a team, even there's a lower division team, you can play for 3 months. Like I said, you need to invest in yourself sometimes. Play for 3 months. The team might say, okay, come here, pay 300 euros for your stay, for your lodging, okay?
Yeah.
And then you play just to get your name, because there's something called transfer market. If you don't have a transfer market account, no team will ever look at you.
What is that?
So transfer market is basically, it shows who the player is, when his birthday is. So every soccer player that's ever played pro anywhere has a transfer market profile.
Okay, makes sense.
So when a team's looking for you, they're looking for your transfer market profile. Like they're looking, the first thing they're going to see, the coach is going to say, or the first thing the agent's going to say, send me your transfer market. If you don't have one, they're going to say, yo, they're going to say, my guy, it's a long shot, you know? But if you have a transfer market profile, that means you played professional in a country, and that means that you're established, you know? So that's why I say, even if they go to these African countries, at least just to get that. Yeah, like I said, even if you have to go to like Africa, like for example, to get that, we need to get that updated. Because for example, I have one, and I played in teams and everywhere, but mine still says the last time I played soccer was in 2020. What are we? 2022.
Okay.
So the last team I signed with. So even my coach, my agent says, "Oh, he's amazing. He played in first division in Canada, whatever." They're still gonna say, "Well, it shows right here he hasn't played since that year." You know? And that's where. So me playing in Cameroon, it's like, okay. At least he's playing now. He's got back to his level.
Makes sense.
He's hopefully playing with his national team. So now it's like when I want to go for a bigger club,
it's gonna be easier.
I have the profile behind him. You know,
makes sense.
And he has potential for sure. His video is good.
Yeah, man, he's pretty good. And that profile, you make it yourself, or
no? The transfer market, it's like you don't make it yourself. Like the transfer market,
you just see it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it just
literally.
happens.
As soon as you sign, like because your football goes to FIFA and all that stuff, you know. So when you sign, it goes to like through the governing bodies and stuff. Like so someone just creates it. I think transfer market itself might get a notification or whatever it is. I'm not sure how that process goes, but someone just makes it. Even my Wikipedia page, I didn't make it. Someone literally one day I woke up.
That's crazy, huh?
One day I woke up, someone typed in my name, someone screenshotted it and sent it to me. I'm like, what is this? And then yo, you have a Wikipedia page. I didn't. Dang. You don't make these things. Sometimes when you just as life goes, these things just happen. You know?
They just happen, yeah. That's what's up. Yeah. Well, that's it. You can tell people where they can find you and follow your story. I think you have an Instagram now, a personal one. So
okay, yes. So yes, it's not a lie. It's true. It's not a fake person that's just trying to be me. Mr. is my personal Instagram. You can also find me on Ottawa Selects, or now on Instagram it's Selects High Performance, Selects HP. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to be documenting my entire story in Cameroon. I might start a YouTube channel Maybe.
Nice.
If I'm not interested, I won't. But we'll see how I feel when I get down there. But I definitely will be documenting everything on my personal Instagram. From the second I leave the airport to the second my parents are crying tomorrow, I will definitely document everything and keep you guys updated on a day-to-day, because this is an experience that I don't want anyone to forget, and I don't want to forget myself. So thank you for the interview. That's what I will say.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I hope to do another one of these when I get back.
Of course, let's do another one when you get back.
For sure. I look forward to it. I look forward to the trip, man. I think it's going to be something like no other. I think living in Africa, from what I've heard from everyone, is an experience.
Yeah, it's good though.
So I think even just I saw the place where I'm going to be training, and I said, wow.
Yeah.
I said, this is going to be treacherous.
There you go.
Yeah, even just from there, I said that. But I'm in the mentality that, like, it is what it is. Let's just go. Let's just enjoy it. Even if I have to be like in, when you're in elementary school and you're playing on the playground, you're kicking the ball. I said, even if that's the situation and I'm playing on gravel or whatever it is, I'm just gonna enjoy it like I'm a little kid again.
Why not?
And whatever happens from it happens, you know. At the end of the day, like, imagine being in a stadium, like in the CPL, the craziest games have like 8,000 fans. But if I go to Cameroon and I'm playing in the first division, the craziest games could have 40,000 fans, 60,000 fans.
That's
so when you get into playoffs, you have full stadiums because everyone wants to watch.
Of course.
So, like I said, it's different. Imagine you're playing, like I said, it's one thing to play here. Yeah, you're playing first division, you're comfortable. Have 10,000 fans on a good day.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to have 40,000 fans on a good day. And now you're playing against everyone in that city, and everyone's going nuts. And it's definitely an experience. As I said, I don't care if I'm playing on gravel, training on gravel, but I know when those games come, those games are going to be massive. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the atmosphere, the good weather, the good food, and just being in that pro environment again. That's what I left, and that's what I love, and that's what I'm looking forward to getting back to.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's probably going to be just like Europe, because you were saying in the other podcast, everything stops, people watch the games.
Exactly.
Senegal's the same thing when the national team is
during playoffs.
Yeah,
as you're doing playoffs, or even like the qualifiers for the national team. These kind of things are. There's nothing else for the people down there. They're making bets. People are talking about things. Like, as soon as I get down there, it'll be a big thing, because there's a player coming from Canada to try and revive his career, stuff like that.
Nice.
So it's gonna be something that is gonna be.
You gotta show up.
Yeah, gotta show up. It's gotta be big for sure.
That's what's up, man. No, I wish you the best. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, man.
Me too. I'm looking.
It's gonna be great.
Even like, for example, the national team is something that obviously every player wants to play with. Of course. Even if that doesn't happen, I'm still gonna be happy with just enjoying football again in a warm country and playing in my home country. Being able to say I've played professionally in first division in both of my home countries. That's something that a lot of people can do. That's true. That's something that a lot of people will do.
Yeah.
So I can tell people what it's like to be back in Cameroon and play at the highest level, and I can tell you what it's like being in Canada and playing at the highest level. And that's something that I will cherish forever. You know, I'm able to say, like, I've done what a lot of people are willing to do. You know? And like, most people are trying to get out of Cameroon, but now I'm going to Cameroon.
That's
see
true.
The difference. It's like, it's an interesting scenario, but I look forward to it.
I think it's happening more and more. People are realizing that there's a lot of future in Africa, in our countries, and people are getting fed up with the West.
No, for sure. I think, and like I said, it's an experience that I'll never forget, and that's why it's the most worth it. Because it's like, okay, like, let's say if all fails, even if I go down and get injured, whatever happens, I was able to live in Cameroon, play soccer, and like, what more could you want? Even people in Cameroon, they're killing themselves to play in the first division in Cameroon. The same way people here are killing themselves to play in the CPL.
That's true.
So now I've been able to experience best of both worlds, and you know, like I said, I'll cherish these
it's a blessing.
These moments forever, and I'll be like part of Canadian soccer history. I played in the first division here. I'll be part of Cameroonian soccer history because I played in Cameroon in the first division there. So these are little things that I will hold with me for the rest of my life. You know, I can stay here and work a regular job every day for the rest of my life, and I won't, and that won't bring anything. That won't bring any any positive memory to me, but going to my home country and playing in front of thousands of people and feeling the love of that nation and being able to just spend time with family that are there. And this is something that no one in my immediate family has done. Nobody, you know. So these are moments that me and my family will cherish for
That's
forever.
true.
You know.
That's what living life is, man.
Exactly.
Doing things that are extraordinary.
Exactly. So it's people I know that taking Euro trips or going to South America and spending the same amount of money that I'll spend in just being in Cameroon for 3 months rather than being in Dominican for 1 month.
For a week.
A week, yeah. Or a week, sorry. I'm even stretching it.
Yeah.
Or being in the Dominican or Jamaica or something like that for a week. Yeah. I'll get even crazier experience with that same amount of money. You know?
DR is expensive, man. I ordered a pizza there once. It was like $100 US.
Yeah. Bro, when I tell
for
you,
2 pizzas.
When I tell you, my rent in Cameroon in a nice apartment
Yeah.
is 500 Canadian.
Gosh, that's crazy.
And then food, mate, you can have breakfast in Cameroon for $2, mate. For $2, $5. And this is, when I tell you $5, this is like, this is a breakfast.
That's stretching it.
$5 is a big breakfast. You know, like a bottle of water and a beer in Cameroon costs the same.
Well, I guess it's water then.
They're both $1.
Beer's water.
Yeah.
God damn.
So just to tell you like how people live down there, like everything is just enjoyment. There's no here we have sound control and after 12 we're shutting down and nightclubs close at 2. Hey, there's none of that down there. Like, you do whatever you want. Bars play music at 7 a.m. from the night before.
Yeah.
There's no control. You know, you go enjoy your life and that's it. I think there's people say, but there's poverty. Yes, I get it. You know, not everyone lives like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there's life but down there. You know, I think we just as Africans, we need to go back and we need to invest more into our own countries. Like I said, instead of people from Africa leaving and doing things, I think more of us have to go and spend more time there. Yeah. And you know, like I said, people are thinking I'm crazy for going back and playing there, but I think this is one of the greatest experiences I can experience. You know,
I think so too.
So I think if you ask me if the money that I make in the CPL I can make in Cameroon, I'd still prefer to go to Cameroon.
Of course, because
that's what's stopping our nation. It's finances. But if you ask me if I had the same salary I have in Canada back home, hey, those stadiums are full. Our stadiums aren't.
Same here.
The mentality here is for football. It's not a football country. That's a football country. The whole Cameroon was upset when we lost in the AFCON.
Yeah.
Every Cameroonian, even the ones that don't watch soccer, were upset. But here, if we lose a World Cup game or we lose a qualifier, a couple soccer fans are angry, but not the whole country. Yeah. Not someone who doesn't even watch the sport. People who don't even watch soccer know that Cameroon is there for soccer. Yeah. So I think just because the love of the game is there and the country, like I said, it's warm all year round. Also, don't get me wrong, the new stadiums they built in Cameroon are state of the art for Africa. Yeah. The new stadium, because for the AFCON that was in Cameroon.
This year wasn't the whole thing, or?
It was 2019, I believe. The 2019 AFCON was in Cameroon. I think that Senegal won, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes. It's every 2 years? Yeah. That's probably it,
The 2019 AFCON was in Cameroon.
Makes sense.
And they built completely new stadiums. It's only been a couple of years that the stadiums have been built.
Wow.
So now the new pro league there is playing in those stadiums. So you have state-of-the-art stadiums that are like none to they're amazing. They're grass and they're well maintained. Yeah. Obviously, only a couple teams train in the stadiums because they want to maintain the stadiums. But the reality of it is you're playing in amazing stadiums. They're brand new. They're grass fields. Here in Canada, a lot of our stadiums are turf.
What's the difference?
Turf is hard on your body.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So playing on actual grass is much easier on your body.
Like real grass, or can it be synthetic as well?
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Turf is synthetic grass.
Okay.
So in Canada, most of our stadiums are synthetic.
Oh, and the synthetic one is harder than the real stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So when you train in actual grass, it's a lot easier on your body. It's better for your body. Yeah. So I'm saying, like, in Africa, we're starting to build the infrastructures that us players, us men or women who want to play pro football should be thinking, let's change the narrative. Let's start our pro experiences home.
Makes
because
sense.
if more foreigners come into the league, it's better for the league.
Yeah.
It's better for the league. It brings up the quality. They're going to be forced to up the standard because now we have to start thinking of what's the word called? They have to almost make life livable for us, because we're coming from outside. But obviously, we're going to make life livable for ourselves by the same time. Like, they will make a broader effort
To accommodate, I guess you guys.
Exactly. That's the word. They'll make a broader effort to
Makes sense.
accommodate the foreigners, and that'll bring up the standard.
100%.
If we never go back there, then they're going to continue to keep the low standard of the local players.
I guess they want that. They want the best talent.
No, but I think that also the best talent could come from, because all the best talent now, if you're looking at a lot of the African teams, a lot of the African players are not playing for the countries. They're playing for whatever the country they started in.
It's like France, I guess.
Exactly. So, for example, if more Cameroonians went back to play in Cameroon, for example, and things were normal, and the standard was normal, and the outcome was normal. Players like Mbappe would be playing for Cameroon. Players like Chouamani is from Real Madrid, should be playing for Cameroon. Players like Matip would be playing for Cameroon, Liverpool star.
Okay.
Players like, what's this guy's name? He plays for France as center back. It was the center back that was playing for France as well. He's from Cameroon. There's plenty of players from Cameroon that are big stars that don't want to play for Cameroon.
Yeah.
Because they got used to the nations they're living in. The conditions there are better.
Yeah.
And they prefer to stay with those countries. But if you take every single Cameroonian player that was from Cameroon and started playing in Cameroon. They played in their countries, but at one point they had their careers, they played in Cameroon. You don't think because they've been there and they've experienced it and they've experienced the love of the people that they would want to stay and play support their country?
Of course, I think so.
Exactly. So I think if more African players went and had a better experience playing in those countries, then more players would want to stay home and play rather than playing for European countries. Like France would not be France if players would stay and play in Africa.
That's true.
So I think it has to start with people going back and playing there, and their accommodations being better and the league being more attractive. And little by little, for example, the league in Cameroon, they never used to play in proper stadiums. They would play on, some stadiums would be dirt and some stadiums would be whatever it was, but now everything has to be, because of Eto'o being the president of the Football Association, now everything has to be at standard. So I think with times are changing, now the outsider's approach has to change as well too. Yeah. So like I said, I'll be the first person, and from there we'll go.
Pioneer.
Exactly. We'll make things happen.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Tomorrow's not far. A couple hours.
Huh? You got that physio appointment and then straight on the plane.
So I fly to Paris and then Paris to Douala.
Douala, yeah. Nice. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you.